It's December. You're sitting across from your manager in a conference room with fluorescent lighting and a motivational poster about teamwork. This is your annual performance review. You've been rehearsing your talking points for 2 weeks. You pulled 65-hour weeks. You brought in a client worth $400,000. You automated a process that saved your department 90 hours a month. Your manager says the word outstanding. He says it more than once. He tells you you're a key contributor. Then he slides a piece of paper across the table. 3%. $1,500 a year before taxes. That comes out to about $105 a month after the government takes its cut. Your grocery bill went up 9%. Your car insurance went up 14% this year. But you got 3%. So you smile and say thank you because there's nothing else to say in that room. You go back to your desk and pull up old emails. Last year, 3%. Year before that, 3%. Year before that, 3%. You start asking around quietly. Everyone on your floor got 3%. The guy who shows up late every single day and leaves early on Fridays, 3%. The woman who single-handedly rescued a failing product launch, 3%. The person your manager had to write up twice for missing deadlines, also 3%. You delivered more than anyone on your team, same number. It's almost like nobody actually looked at what you did because they didn't. Here's what's really going on behind the curtain. Every January, before a single task gets completed, before a single goal gets set, a group of senior executives sits in a room and decides the total compensation increase budget for the entire company. They take the total payroll number, multiply it by some percentage, usually around 3, and that's the pool. That's all the money that exists for every raise across every department. This happens 11 months before your review. Your performance from February through November is irrelevant to the math. The money was gone before you started earning it. Then, human resources takes that pool and divides it using something called a merit matrix. This is a grid that maps your performance rating to your position in your salary band. If your rated meets expectations and you're at the midpoint of your band, you get 3%. If you're below midpoint, maybe 3.5. If you're above midpoint, maybe 2.5. The matrix makes it look scientific. It's just arithmetic designed to make the budget work out to exactly the number they already decided in January. But the ratings themselves are rigged too. Most companies use something called a forced distribution model. That means only a fixed percentage of employees can receive each rating. Typically, 10% get the top rating, 70% land in the middle, 20% go to the bottom. These percentages are enforced regardless of actual performance. If every single person on your team did exceptional work, it doesn't matter. Only 10% of them are allowed to be rated that way. Now do the math on your team. Let's say there are 9 people. 10% of 9 is 0.9. You can't give 9/10 of a person a top rating. So the system rounds down. Nobody on your team gets exceeds expectations. Everyone gets meets expectations. Meets expectations maps to 3% on the merit matrix. Your rating wasn't based on your output. It was reverse engineered from the budget to make the numbers balance. If you happen to be on a team of 20, 10% is 2 people. Now suddenly, 2 people can get the top rating. Same company, same year, same level of work. The only difference is head count. Your raise is determined by how many people sit near you, not by what you accomplished. Someone has to fill the bottom 20% too. This year, it's the person who took extended medical leave. Next year, it could be you. The bottom 20% has to rotate. It's the only way companies can build a paper trail for terminations and still call them performance-based. You don't have to be bad at your job. You just have to be the one whose number comes up that cycle. Your performance review itself takes about an hour. You walk in with a document listing everything you achieved. Your manager nods, he gives you compliments, then he talks about areas for development. This is how he justifies not giving you the top rating that was never available in the first place. He tells you to work on executive presence, or strategic thinking, or cross-functional leadership. These are unfalsifiable. You can't prove you have them, he can't prove you don't. They exist solely to explain why 3% is appropriate when your results say otherwise. You write down goals for next year. Be more visible. Take on stretch assignments. Build relationships with other teams. You will do all of this. You will exceed every one of those goals. And you will get 3% again because the budget was already locked in before you started. So if everybody at your level is capped at 3, where does the real money go? Last year, executive compensation at your company increased by 12% on base salary alone. When you factor in stock option grants, equity refreshes, and performance bonuses tied to company revenue, total executive compensation went up closer to 35%. They operate under a completely different compensation structure, not subject to the merit matrix, not subject to the forced distribution curve, not pulled from the same pool that funds your 3%. When your manager tells you the company can't afford to give more, he's telling you the truth, but only about your budget line. His boss's compensation comes from a different spreadsheet entirely. Then there's the new hire sitting 2 desks over from you. She started 6 weeks ago. She makes $20,000 more than you. Not because she's better, because she was hired at today's market rate. You were hired 5 years ago at the market rate that existed back then. Since then, you've compounded at 3% per year. Market rates have moved at 6 to 8% per year. Every year you stayed loyal, you fell a little further behind. After 5 years, you're earning roughly 15% below what someone with your exact title and experience commands on the open market. Your former coworker understood this. He left the company 3 years ago, took a 22% raise at his next job, stayed 18 months, left again for another 20%. In 4 years, he increased his salary by 48%. You stayed and accumulated 16% over the same period. His disloyalty earned him an extra $19,000 a year. Your loyalty cost you that same amount. You could go get another offer and bring it to your company. Suddenly, the budget constraints vanish. They find $12,000 they didn't have last week, but they won't match the full offer. They'll come in just under, close enough that the hassle of switching jobs might keep you around, cheap enough that they still come out ahead. And now, there's a note in your file: flight risk. Your manager starts cross-training someone else on your projects. They begin the quiet process of making you replaceable. Maybe they offer you a retention bonus instead, $25,000, paid out over 2 years with a clawback clause. If you leave before the 2 years are up, you owe it back. They're not rewarding you. They're buying time to find someone cheaper while locking you in place. Here's the part that really stings. Over the last 4 years, inflation has averaged about 4.5% annually. Your raises have been 3% annually. That means your real purchasing power has declined by roughly 1.5% every single year. You are functionally making less money today than you were 4 years ago. Your paycheck looks the same or slightly bigger, but it buys less. They didn't cut your salary. They just let inflation do it for them. Executive compensation is designed to outrun inflation. Stock options rise with the market. Equity grants appreciate over time. Bonuses are pegged to revenue growth, which naturally tracks above inflation. Their wealth compounds. Yours erodes. Same company, same year, different systems. Your company talks about pay equity and transparency, but they will never voluntarily publish internal salary bands with market rate comparisons. Because if you could see the spreadsheet, you'd know that the person next to you makes more for the same job, that your band tops out 15,000 below what competitors pay, and that your 3% raise is designed to keep you just comfortable enough to not look for something else. They told you salary information is confidential to protect employee privacy. That's not what it protects. It protects the gap between what they pay you and what they know you're worth. The less you know, the less they have to spend. So here's the summary of what's actually happening every year. The raise budget gets locked in January, months before you do anything worth evaluating. Your rating is determined by a forced curve that exists to make the budget math work. Your performance review is a formality. The number was written on the form before you sat down. The people who benefit are executives operating under a different compensation model and employees who leave every 2 years to reset at market rate. Your consistency is the thing that's costing you the most money. The system doesn't reward people who stay. It rewards people who understand how it works and act accordingly. If this made you rethink how your pay actually works, subscribe. There's a lot more they're not telling you about how the system is designed.